All right. Well, hey, thanks everybody for joining. Uh, Kind of exciting. I know I'm starting about a minute early here, but I just want to start off by kind of exciting times now. I just got off a big interview call with states other than the ones you guys are in, and pretty exciting. We got a lot of new people coming into Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, that were on this call that I just hung up with. Some really good people. So kind of fun. I had to hurry and get off that call because it was an initial interview call that you guys remember a while back before you went through training. So pretty exciting. But hey, welcome to our call. And I just want to kind of get started. Let me make sure I got everybody on the screen. It looks like, what do we have right now on the screen? Dave and Chris and Robert. Okay. Can all of you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
We good. Okay. Well, you know what? I think a good way to start this is I really want to go back through, how we got started and kind of see where you guys are at and what you've been doing and how I can help you. See if we can share some best practices on people that are having some successes. And even if you're having some like, hey, this is a little bit challenging, I don't know how to overcome something, I think we can easily kind of explain how to do that. So I'm just going to kind of turn it open. Does anybody want to kind of start on, have you been going to hero courses? What has your experience been? Are you getting hero courses? Where's everybody at right now?
Yeah,
Anybody want to
right
start?
now, yeah, right now for me, the Central Ohio weather has been kind of brutal. I mean, last week we had tornadic weather and then we had snow and then now we're having like torrential flooding. So like
Wow.
getting courses right now, like springtime in Ohio right now is not it's not the best, but I there's definitely something there's a lot of potential obviously. And hearing from the course in Hilliard, gave me some confidence for sure. There's there's definitely something out there for me. So yeah.
Well, good, Connor. Glad you're on this call, buddy.
Hey,
Anybody else have anything they want to share, or do you want me to just kind of get into training and some role
can
play?
you can you hear me, Jay?
Yes. Hey, Dave.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, buddy.
Hey, I just want to jump in with my teammate there. Yeah, only in Ohio can we have snow, flooding, and tornadoes all in the same week. But hey, it's definitely a slow start for me and Connor, trying to get these hero courses locked in and finding a lot of getting a lot of setbacks with the municipal courses, and then the ones that fall under Parks and Rec, having a lot of trouble getting somebody to call me back. I've reached out to all
Oh,
these people. I go to the course, I do my spiel, and at the very end they say, "Well, I can't make this decision for you. I got to reach out to my boss." And so I'll send the info up and say, "Hey, please send this up," or I'll try to call them myself, and just I'm getting zero callbacks. So it's a little
are those more
frustrating.
city owned?
I'm sorry.
Are those city-owned golf courses, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah. They can be a challenge. The red tape is so sad because once you finally get through the red tape, it's usually a pretty simple answer. But it
Right.
to get through it, those can be challenging.
Right.
Yeah. So hopefully there are enough other courses that maybe aren't, the more new the ones that aren't municipal courses that are city owned are probably a lot easier. But
Just have to
um,
expand our bubble.
no, I know. I went down. For example, in Carlsbad, I've got some courses that like Aviara that are just unbelievable on the water there. But the director of golf could say yes. Well, I go to the crossings. I grew up in Carlsbad, went to high school in Carlsbad, elementary, junior high, and high school. I know everybody. The GM loves me, and it's sat with getting an okay by the city of Carlsbad for a year. Those are the hardest only because you can't get in front of the person that can say yes. And when you do, it's pretty easy. And when you get out in the cities also, well, might say something to you, Dave, like, well, if I say yes to you, that opens up the door for me. I should be able to say yes to everybody. The
Hmm.
uniqueness of us, nobody else does what we do. So,
Yeah.
I say, well, I totally understand that. You need to be fair to everybody. You're a city. You're in that position where you better be politically correct at all times. But we are the only one that does this. So, I kind of go from there and try to get them to say yes anyway. But most of our courses are more privately owned, um, public courses, and then of course the the private courses that we do less times, but we get all their tournaments are quite easy. They're usually one-offs, right? They own that course or they own a couple, and those are usually a lot easier. I think the most difficult are the city-owned, only because it's hard to get to the person as you're mentioning. So hopefully that'll change quickly when you go to all the other ones. So
Hey, we hope so. Thanks, Jay.
yeah, you're very welcome. Does anybody have any questions on how to present when you're going in and we're doing the hero program and we're walking them through this presentation? You guys feel like you're pretty solid on all of this? Do you have any questions on any of this? Okay. So really right now, I think where we're at in the Midwest specifically is that the weather's bad. If it's bad in Ohio, I'm sure Indiana and Illinois and those areas are probably close behind in that whole region, with storms coming through. So it's really kind of like we're just getting started. So the main thing for me really would be to just make sure that you're very comfortable. If you map out, I don't know how many courses are in a 20-25 mile ring of where you live. Let's say we map those out. And then when the weather's conducive and the GM or director of golf's actually there, it can be frustrating to email and leave messages because you're one more person that they don't fully understand why they need to call you back. Some of them will, the majority don't, but it's really getting out, walking in and catching that director of golf and him saying, or she saying, sure, I have 10 minutes to sit down with you. Then the presentation's pretty clean and easy. Is there any part of this that any of you would like me to explain where you maybe don't feel comfortable yet?
Hey Jay, I would just like to add some of the courses that you guys are going to be going to, even though they're public layouts, they're going to be very much like a country club or a private club establishments, and that the majority of their play is going to be again and again and again and again. The same people say the course. I mean, and I found that like in Alabama that to be the case. Now, in the southern part of Alabama, where there are beaches, resorts, and people come in for holidays and travel, then obviously you can run those courses many more times a week than you can some of these courses where the same players are going to see you, you know, and so in order to not burn out the facility or to burn out the people, you have to treat this almost like Jay was saying as a private course so that you're there on a timeline that they're not going to say, "Oh, it's you again," or it's that kind of thing. And the real key to making those courses work, I believe, is the white label process in which we get all of their tournaments. Because when you're getting their tournaments, you're getting people who are coming to that tournament to help a charity or to help a cause, and they're going to be, and we're there to help that cause, and you're going to get bigger volumes of money and bigger volumes of productivity when you come to tournament days there than you probably will when you get regular play. Just because once you've been there 2 or 3 times, regular play people are going to say, "Oh, I saw you a month ago. Oh, you were here 2 months ago." And oh yeah, I get your story. I love to support you guys, but I've already done it. And that's where I think the challenge is a little different for courses like that than for people who are in Florida, California, the coastal parts of Carolina, where those are resort courses that people come, they travel from all these distances to play, and they probably never seen you, and you probably wouldn't see them again for another year of them coming to that course, right,
You
Jay?
know what? Absolutely excellent point. You're right. If you're in a resort course, you can frequent it a lot, right? At least every other week. And a lot of places like Legacy in Arizona, it's a new crowd every week. They stay in those condos to play that golf course, and it's purely resort relying on the people staying there. So you're right, you can go to those a lot. When you get into public courses, let's say you have a 7 month window up in Ohio, for example, for golf, then if I did do a public course, one thing I would really make sure of is that, say the first one's a Saturday, it's a big play day, it's the first time you've ever done it, kind of a big way to kick it off, probably on a Saturday where they get the most golfers. But then I would turn around and rotate those days. You are going to see the same people, but most people don't play daily. And so if I did a Saturday, then I would do a Tuesday, then I would do a Sunday, then I'd do a Thursday. I would make it, it would take me 7 months to get back to covering all 7 days. And it is the relationship, like you just said. It's really all about that relationship and getting the tournaments. The hero opens the door. Now you're marketing him. Now you have a relationship with him. Now you're, establishing, raising money for the people that protect our freedom. And it's just such a great avenue to get in and help our veterans and first responders. But that leads, like you just said, to the tournaments. And when you get the tournaments, now you're fundraising year round on the digital platform. You're being paid for a one-time effort. You're doing banquet programs. You're doing on-course programs. You're doing player packages. All of a sudden, you're going out there and able to make, $1,000 to $1,800 in a day because you're doing 3 programs. You're exactly right. That the hero program is near and dear to our heart, like I could never explain well enough how much it means. But that's the relationship builder. It raises significant money nationwide because there's 17,000 golf courses. But like you just said, that leads to the charity golf tournaments. And that's a home run because you're not only doing multiple programs on one day, but they're there for a charity. They know they're donating. You raise great money. All of them want to buy the player packages. You could go in and raise money at auctions at the banquet. And very importantly, now, for the first time ever, we raise money for them year round. So I just had a huge Super Bowl tournament going to happen in Louisiana. And it's a bunch of NFL players. There's an NFL like Lawrence Taylor on every team. So it's a huge deal, very expensive. And they were talking about their overhead. And their overhead, because they want to go to this unbelievably upper end course, staggering about like $583 per golfer for the course and the dinner. Crazy expensive. And so I told him, I said, you know what we ought to do? We're talking about 10 months from now. Let's start your digital fundraiser now. Let's use all of your influence. If you got all these Hall of Fame players, they post it on their social media. You'll overcome all of your overhead before the tournament ever starts, and then net everything from your tournament. So we're starting their digital campaign now. And by the time they get there, they'll have no overhead. It'll be paid off. And so really take advantage of raising money for people year round, or if it's a school, for a period of time. If it's a school or a sports team, most of those are 30 to 60 days. But if it's a charity, set it up year round. And then every so many months, they post it through text messaging, or they post it on their website, or they do an email blast. It just continues that fundraising and that relationship year round till they do their tournament again. So great comment. You're exactly 100% right. You want this to get in, get you started, build your relationship. You're driving revenue, you're marketing them, you become friends, you get all their tournaments. And when you get their tournaments, watch out.
Hey, Jay, can I ask something else?
Yes,
So,
please.
okay. All right. So all the guys on the call, do any of you guys happen to know the high school golf coaches in your area? Okay. So
I don't think so, buddy.
okay, so if you can contact those local schools, I mean, high school golf is pretty big in Alabama, and it's something that I've got a team I'm trying to get back over. I had a death in the family type thing, but I'm going back to Florence in the like next week to meet this coach again. We can set up our digital program to raise money for the high school golf team, but also we're going to turn around and sell them crank equipment at a discount, so that I not only have not only do I make money by doing the fundraising for the golf team, but I'm also going to make money on every driver, 3-wood and 5-wood that they buy. And look, DeChambeau doing what he's done has got the name brand of crank out there for everybody, and they all want to hit it. Like if I tell the high school coach, I'm coming to your area, I'll meet you at the driving range, I'll let your team hit our club. They're all like, we can hit what DeChambeau hits. I mean, you get crazy kind of excitement about that. And
It's
so
so true.
you can take your demos out there, let them hit it, get them all excited, and then say, look, we're going to help you raise enough money so that you're not just hitting these clubs, you're playing these clubs in tournaments, and you're going to have a competitive advantage against all the other teams you're going to be lining up against. And you make money two ways, not one way. And like Jay says, I'm a firm believer in that we should try to we have a great 3-pronged process, and we need to utilize those 3 processes in as many ways and opportunities as possible in order to maximize income for yourself, but also create more value for what we bring to the table. And I once again, hats off to Jay for what he's created, but you guys need to understand these are available for us to utilize, and it's really powerful when you can marry 2 or 3 of these together at one time.
You're so right. And to track those tournaments, like you're saying, I just went down and a good friend of mine, I went to high school with, played high school football quite a while ago. His son was on the baseball team at Escondido High School. And so I went down and played in the tournament. And so I called the coach and said, hey, just let me tell you about what our company does. So we went out and did the par 3 and the par 5 with Crank. And you're so right. We made all kinds of money for them they wouldn't have had. They got tremendous gifts. I mean, and DeChambeau, right now, before we got on this call, he's in first place at the Masters right now. He's 3 under. So can you we can't even imagine when he won 3 out of 5 tournaments and shot 61.58. That was big. If he would win the Masters, oh my goodness. Crank's gonna explode. And we actually got like Charles Howell the third now playing it. We got a lot of other players playing it. But I was thinking too, when you go back through in these videos, really get into the videos on how you source golf tournament leads. Because here's what happens. The Hero program opens up the course to get the tournaments, but it can be the reverse as well. You can also use social media, get the tournaments. Now you're going to the golf course to do multiple programs at a tournament, and you close it as a Hero course. Hey, we're here supporting XYZ. And I want to show you that because we have a Hero program that's second to none. That is a tremendous advantage to the golf courses. There are a lot of benefits. I just need 10 minutes of your time. So they lead to each other. So I'd also, while you're doing this, I would be sourcing golf tournaments, because here's one other aspect. Your golf tournaments in some of these areas, your season's just beginning. But just beginning doesn't mean that golf tournament wasn't scheduled to be run late April, early May, many months ago. And so if you don't source them now, it's going to be hard to get in them because they will have already happened. So I would follow some of this as well.
I have a question or a comment in regards to that. With possibly doing a tournament, since you are doing the hole-in-one and buying the gift certificate for the pro shop there, and you haven't been to that course, you could say, hey, look, I'm out here with this tournament, with doing this. I'm buying this gift certificate for the tournament because of the money that I raised. I could come out here on a regular play day and do something similar to you for you just for the course. Who could I talk to about that? Is that a
Absolutely.
good way of doing that?
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely. Then you walk in and you're standing there and you raise X amount and you're buying a $200 gift certificate to the course that they're making full value at, like you said, at the charity event, and say, hey, you know what? I would love to just get 10 minutes of your time or set a meeting because our hero program is such a significant advantage for your course, even marketing on everybody's phone. Most importantly, it supports our veterans that we all want to support. But yes, all those things lead together and they see you. And then maybe he doesn't meet with you and he says he's busy and you come back and do another tournament. Next thing you know, he's like, I've had people months later say, absolutely, show me what you're talking about. And we've heard this all nationwide. We've had people build their entire business off of Hero. We've had people build their entire business off of charity golf tournaments that then led to Hero courses, the reverse. So we've had both. We've had people walk in and talk about Hero and say, let's say it's Pelican here in California, unbelievably expensive. It's almost like trying to go to Pebble Beach. And they say, I love this for your veterans. Can we do a mail out to raise money? Because, we're charging $500 a man and we just don't want somebody asking for money because we're so upper end. They're the extreme rarity of upper end. And we turn around on that one and go right into charity golf tournaments. Totally understand, completely understand. I'd love to do the mailer. Let's sit down. Tell me about your tournaments because we can enhance them. We're always an income item. We have the biggest hitters in the world. We have the number one driver in the world. We had the driver that just broke on the PGA record, the all-time 2-day scoring record with DeChambeau, and holds all the world records and won World Long Drive 31 times. So you go the more you understand all of our programs, the easier it is because that conversation can go any direction and you win. You win if you get the tournaments. You win if you get the hero that leads to the tournaments, vice versa. I mean, you could turn around and they could say white label par 3, like Robert just mentioned, phenomenal idea, and you're in. They could also turn around and say, show me all your programs. Nobody does banquet programs. You mean we can say from the golf course, if you book a tournament here, we'll fundraise you with a veteran, with a hero driver at the banquet, and we'll fundraise doing the digital platform or Cancun trips? Nobody does that. I want to white label that instead. You can take it any direction they want to go, just get in. Because once you're in, they see you, you end up doing their charity tournament, you do a banquet program, you start doing all your programs. Like Robert mentioned, you're paying them money for a closest to the pin contest. Everybody at their course is getting a free hole in one. It's the same thing as a hero day on the par 3. And it just changes. Over time, it changes everything. I've had courses that have told me in 10 minutes, you had me at veteran. How are we doing this? I mean, I had Dove Canyon, super upper end course. I walk in and the GM's name's Gabe, and I'm thinking, I really want this course. I want the course. I want the tournaments. I want our veteran program because we'll raise thousands on a hero day at this course. And because it's private, I'll just do it Memorial Day and Veterans Day and just kill it. I walk into that meeting and he said, you're the hero program. I said, yes. And he goes, for our veterans? And I said, absolutely. He goes, I knew I'd heard of you. You had me at veteran. What are we doing? I've had them go that fast. Like, whew, talk about a laydown. I've also had ones where they were my friend and I chased them for 6 months. We're in there now, but I just stayed on them and it took forever. But we got them, we got their tournaments, and you'll grow. So use these different ideas. Get in, get the tournaments, find a way to white label, talk to tournament directors. You sit down with somebody that hesitates at all. If it's a city owned, like we were talking about with Dave, those are probably the hardest only because the decision maker's not sitting there and they could even take it to a board. I mean, it could get confusing by the time you get it. I would hit the ones that aren't city owned first for sure. Let those come to fruition. But if it was city owned, you can still do their tournaments. You don't need approval for their tournaments. So I'd turn around and say, hey, I totally understand that. Thank you so much for your time. This advantage, I could go ahead and market your city course now for free, still drive revenue to you that you don't currently have. Do you mind if I get a quick meeting with your tournament director, and I'll do it at his discretion? Get their tournaments, just reverse it, reverse engineer it. So that's why I think why we're growing so rapidly, is because there's always a way, and we're not stuck doing it one way. So great comments, you guys. This is what makes us solid at what we do, is hearing everybody's successes and challenges. Any other questions? Okay. Our hero, our online fundraising. Have you guys all been invited to Ann's trainings?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got that? Okay. This is blowing up. I knew it would. It took us 5 years. But I mean, when you really stop and think about it, you've got 144 people at a charity event. We've built our whole company off of that. We rotated that into the real relationship with Hero that is so necessary at the golf courses, opens up all the doors, but to fundraise for people year round, or schools for short periods of times, or sports teams. Man, this is wide open. It may be raining in Ohio, but for example, every charity in Ohio, businesses on loyalty programs, resorts or hotels on loyalty programs, gifts, every charity you do, it just, our hero program, it opens up so many different ways that people that are currently fundraising struggle with. You know, I was talking to somebody and they were talking about a church. Was that on this? I think it was on was this call or previous call? Church just shut down. Was that this call? I've had 3 in a row. So, and they were talking about a church that just closed down because they couldn't fundraise properly. And this just opens up those doors. You know that we raise, if you give people incentives like we do with our savings pass, national stat, they raise 54% more money than they would have. This is just a brilliant way to fundraise. Every sports team, every sport at a high school needs to fundraise. I mean, I just got another thing from my granddaughter on my phone where she wants me to buy. She says, "Hey, Grandpa, these candies are a buck a candy bar." And so, but if you just buy the whole box or 60, I don't even eat candy bars. If you buy the whole box, then mom will ship them to you. But I need help fundraising. Ours is 1,000 times that. They can bring in so much more money, and you don't put your children out knocking on doors or trying to sell it. And it's a unique situation. So I wanted to make sure that you guys were really informed on Ann's training, because I thought what was missing after putting all this together is you need somebody available that created it, that will live and breathe it with our team and give them all the help that they need every day. So we just started that with Ann a couple weeks ago, and the growth we've had from that is what we thought it would be. It's just opening up all the doors. If you don't know how to present, or if you're presenting for a specific reason on a specific platform, she'll give you a different deck. She'll role play with you. You know, her call on Monday will be another good call, and it's going to be more about role playing. You know, what do you say to the charity event? How do you say it? How do you set that account up? So just wanted to throw that in on this training, because it's almost like we're so diverse. I don't want to confuse anybody on how you should start. Really getting started, there is no better way by far than following this. But just know when you go in there and you set that up, if you do get shut down for the owner's not here, whatever reason, and you can leave a black and white copy of our hero program to set a meeting later. If I do, I try really hard to get that meeting with the owner, because chasing them is so difficult. But go in there, start with the hero courses, but always have in the back of your mind, if you need to go to the tournament director instead and go through this, you always have that tied to your book. You have the hero program, but you have everything for on-course fundraising. Your par three, your par five, your long drive, all of your player packages. It's all there. All the prizes that we give away, how we do it, how we fundraise for them year round, how we market them. It's all still there. You might just want to go the other direction every once in a while. In the dream world, you set up hero courses. You go do a hero day, you create the relationship, they host the courses, the GM's so thrilled with what you do. You go back and say, hey, we are the largest fundraiser that are only an income item for all of your charities. And when we get involved with our programs, they significantly increase their net revenue. But you, as the golf course owner or manager, are paid per golfer. You don't want to shut down your golf course for a charity golf tournament and be paid whatever dollar amount it is that you're charging for 80 golfers. When we get involved, we can fill the field. We can turn it into a stellar event. You gain more sponsors. You have more dinners. That's how golf courses are paid. They're like, oh my gosh, well, what you just did in the hero course, absolutely. My tournament director's name is so and so, or I actually run the tournaments. Let's sit down again. Let's go through this. And that leads right into white label. It leads right into, let's say he turns around and says, I don't know about the white label. Well, now after going through all this, he knows or she knows what you can do. And if they really intimately understand your programs, these people are sharp. They're not a director of golf for no reason. And they're going to turn around and say, oh my, you don't even charge? How do you do that? Walk me through that. And you explain it. Well, I'd love to have your tournaments. I don't know if we need the white label, but hey, I have 27 tournaments this summer. Great. All I need is a list with the contact person's name and phone number. Oh, cool. Well, can we just go ahead and print that out? I'll call them and say, oh my gosh, you're hosting your tournament at Anderson Country Club in Anderson, Indiana. This is fantastic. I love that venue. The general manager mentioned his name, said that, hey, perhaps we can help you. I'd like to learn more about your tournament. We're the largest company in the nation at supporting charity golf outings. And I think I could significantly increase your net revenue. Can I ask you a few questions about your tournament? And that man or lady will start telling you, and you just start filling the gaps. So a lot of different ways to get going. In the perfect world, it's hero first, but there are still a lot of ways to get this done. I just want to make sure you're aware of that. So you're never in a meeting like, oh, shoot, I really don't know where to go next. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions on that? These programs, it was funny. I talked to, again, it was my buddy's son. So I played in it Saturday, and his son's a senior it was actually on the baseball team. And so I called this guy and the head baseball coach, he says, oh my gosh, you're involved in how many events? And so I walked him through it, and he said, this has been a nightmare. He said, I took this on, and it's our first one ever. And what a nightmare. He said, I had other coaches who were going to help me. They never did. And I said, well, hey, let me take a bunch off of, his name was Nick. I said, let me take a bunch off of your plate. This is how simple it's going to be. Well, I only had days before his event, so I didn't want to do the player. I told him about the player package, said this would change the entire face, but how are you going to market this in a few days? So we're just going to come do your par three and your par five and let me walk you through it. One of them is going to raise money for you, give you a hole in one, give you closest to the pin. You pay for nothing. We're going to give you money you never would have had. And you just created more excitement and fun on your course with a hole in one and a closest pin the contest. And we'll be helping raise money by giving your people Cancun trips that are valued up to $2,800. Then I rotated that right into, and now what we're going to do on the par five, let me tell you about Crank Golf. This is the background, DeChambeau, world record, on and on and on. This is what the setup looks like. And we're going to give you 100% back in prizes. So now you've got real prizes at your banquet. You can raise a lot more money for, and however you want to do that. You want to do it in your raffle, do it in your raffle. You want to do it in a silent auction, do it in a silent auction. If you want live auction, whatever, however you want to do this, we'll give you back prizes. So we did that. We gave him back drivers and Cancun trips, and it couldn't have gone better. When you're handing somebody back, let's say you raise $1,500, but you're giving them back two drivers and a couple Cancun trips that are valued up to $2,800. So you're on a mic giving out the drivers. Well, they're valued at, if it's a hero driver, $699, or crank driver, $650, and a Cancun trip up to $2,800, while you raised $1,500. You gave back $7,000 worth of stuff. Everybody starts cheering. They can't believe it. And once you get done, you turn around and say, hey, a lot of you play in other charity golf tournaments and or run them. So please just raise your hand. All this was for free. It's only upside. I'll come by and grab your business card. We'll do the same thing for your event. And we average gaining 1 to 3, usually 2 to 3 events at an event. We've had events where we've gained significantly more events at that one event than 2 or 3. But that's how you grow. You do one, you gain 2 or 3, you do 2 or 3, you gain, 9 more. Here you go. You're off and running. Does all this make sense? What can I help you guys with? I know your season's just starting. So I just keep thinking back. I started in my own backyard. I was the first person to ever go out and do a par 5, or I was the first person to call a long drive guy, or present the hero program. So I went to Pachanga because Scott Mallory and I are buddies. So I thought, hey, I'll practice on him. And with you guys getting started, is there anything that you feel like you're confused about, or that you don't know, or you wish you knew a little bit better?
I have had one response from a tournament that said that they didn't want to share the revenue with another entity. And that's why they chose not to have us come out and assist them with their event. Even though their charity was going to and supports veterans with PTSD and their service dogs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I tried to explain to them it would be nice for us to work together because we do the same things that you do and we represent the same organizations that you represent. Here's who we work with, here's our things. We're here to help you raise money. And her only rebuttal was, we don't want to share any revenue raised on the course with another person.
My response to that would have been, if you're not, I understand you don't want to share revenue, but how are you going to create the revenue that we would be bringing to the table? Because like Jay just mentioned, I mean, how are you going to give away 25 Cancun trips and raise this much money on the whole? I mean, yes, you don't want to share revenue, but at the same time, how are you going to replace what we would bring to you? And that would be my approach. And that's just me.
You know what? That's a great comment again. I'll tell you, Robert, too. This is what I do. I give you an example. Mike Tice, that's now my buddy, 35 years in the NFL, head coach of the Vikings, played tight end, was assistant coach forever as well. He kept telling me, I have everything. I don't need anything. But you know how it's like a relationship. If I go in and I'm meeting with the GM and I talk and I walk him through our deck, I have a veteran program. Let me walk you through this. Hard to build a relationship. So, and you may have done all this. I'm not saying you didn't. I'm just saying what works for me is I turn around and I would say to that lady, let's pretend her name was whatever, Lisa. And I would say, hey, Lisa, this is fantastic. Your veteran program, that's what we do. Hero program, we're the largest at supporting charities. Tell me about your event. Oh, well, we have 85 golfers. We've been doing it 4 years. I'm the one in charge. Great. That's fantastic. Can you tell me more in detail? Like once they're there the day of, what are your entry fees? What are your prizes? What contests do you have? Have her answer. All of a sudden, what on-course fundraising do you do? Well, that's where they stumble. We really don't. So she's not replacing your income. So what we would do is I would say, hey, let me tell you about something that will create fun and excitement, raise money that you don't currently raise, give you a free hole in one, give you closer to the pin contest, give back $2,800 worth of Cancun trips per person as we raise money for you. Oh, and it costs you nothing. That's why our hero program is so successful. Now it wouldn't be her replacing it because she wants all of it. It's like was just said, she has none of that money. She doesn't, it doesn't exist. And if she has 85 players, what player package do you do? What are the contests? What hole in ones do you have? Well, she could say, I have them all. And then, get away from it. Or, hey, I do this. What about at your banquet? How do you raise money at your banquet, Lisa? Well, at the banquet, we just kind of eat and we give out our raffles and we raise money through our raffle tickets. We have a hero driver that can raise you thousands of dollars to you in 10 minutes. Let me walk you through how that works. We could do Cancun trips that can raise you thousands of dollars. If 20 people raise their hand at $100, it's $2,000. You're getting 50% of it. Your people are getting $2,800 trips for $100. It's $1,000 to you for 10 minutes. I would go, that's for me. I want to ask. Mike Tice told me that I'll digress here and tell you a funny story. So Mike says to me, Jay, I have everything. I'm Mike Tice. I was head coach of the Vikings. I was with the Seahawks. I was, we have hole in ones. We have everything. And I said, oh my gosh, that's so amazing, Mike. That's so great. How much money are you raising for the Boys and Girls Club that you're building? Last year we raised almost 50 grand, $48,000. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. What's your player package? Just tell me about your event. Because if you have an event this great, I want to learn from you. Tell me about it. He didn't have a shootout. He didn't have a hole in one to the Super Bowl. He didn't have a professional long driver that could put on a show and hit a ball 400 yards in the air that he gets half the money from. So I just let him talk. And he loves to talk. If you guys know Mike Tice, 25 minutes later, I was just listening and taking notes. Well, when he got done talking, I said, well, you know what, Mike, I know we started to talk about it a few minutes earlier or half hour earlier when you said that you had everything, but just think what a long drive guy would do for you. It's up to you, but you don't have a long drive guy. Can you imagine your people coming through like Jim Zorn and all the people you're bragging about, and they see a guy hit the ball that's number one of the top 10 hitters in the world, hit the ball 400 yards on the fly before it hits the ground? You know how fun, exciting that is? He'll hit a putter over 300 yards. He'll go and do a demonstration before your tournament starts and teach people how to hit their driver. How valuable is that to you? You have no on-course fundraising at all? Well, next thing you know, Mike says, this is what he said. Okay, walk me through that again. Because he's a coach, he's in charge. He's 6'7", and Mike Tice is quite a personality. And so at the end of the day, we do now as player package, we do the long drive and we do the par 3 every single year. So sometimes it's just listening and asking enough questions that they almost overcome their own objections. This lady, I want 100% of everything. Well, 100%, we would never talk like this, but in my brain, and like was commented on, 100% of zero, zero, right? So really it's finding out what they don't do. And it could be a banquet program. It could be the player package. It could be on course. It could be all of them. I just closed a tournament the other day that called me back that we're doing the player package, the par 3, the par 5 on course. And then we're doing the banquet program as well. And all of a sudden you have 4 programs. They're netting significantly more, a lot higher dollar amount. And they're able to market a way better event than they were going to market. And what's the return to our team on 4 programs at one event? We average up to $1,400-$1,800 on 3. Now you're doing the banquet program. It's huge. It's gigantic. And on the banquet program, are you doing Cancun? That's one of them. Are you doing the digital platform? That's one of them. You're paid in perpetuity on that one. What a great one to do. Are you doing the hero drivers? So you've got a lot of opportunities to pick which one makes most sense to them. a veteran program, it would have been that hero veteran driver. I mean, they passed that around the room with the American flag, USA, hero on it, number one distance driver at every single swing speed. We custom built it to their specs. You know, David Wills raised $14,000 on 5 of them at one banquet. 14 grand. When was the last time that lady had somebody hand them 14 or, you know, their portion of the 14 grand in 10 to 20 minutes at a banquet? There's no way she has that. So sometimes what they don't know, they don't know. And you always stay professional. And the way I do it, never confrontational. Like I'd say, like I would never say back to Mike Tice, actually, Mike, you know, you need to hear this because you do need this. What I do instead is said, well, oh, you know, that's so great. What on course wins are you doing? I just want to learn from you. And now he has to tell me he doesn't have them. And say, oh, like putting on a show or how long have you been doing this? 7 years in a row. What are you doing different this year? I'm not. You have a full field. Where are you making your ancillary income? I'm not. Well, once he said that, then it was, I'm just asking and learning and being his buddy. Then he turns around and says, maybe I do need that. They answer their own questions. You never have to be direct or combative, or there's no need for it. Just ask people questions. They'll answer their own questions. And once they realize, oh, this is different, this is a benefit, that's how we end up doing at least one program.
Hey Jay, that totally worked for me today. Actually, that is exactly what happened. A gentleman, his son was a police officer who got killed over 20 years ago, and this is the 21st one, and it's on 2 courses at the same. They have 36 holes. One side's all police officers, and the other side is the public. And
wow.
He was afraid that the police officers, because they don't make much money, that they can't pay $50. I said, well, and then Jason had given me a suggestion that said just have the 4 of them put in $12.50 a piece, and the closest to the pin in their own group gets the savings app. And so that's going to work. And he was, you know, I said, I'm only want to be an addition to what you're already doing. I'm not trying to take anything away from you at all. I just want to be involved. And as he looked at it, he's going to do the online, the banquet program, and par 3 on each side.
Perfect.
So I'm
Perfect.
like, all right. So
yeah, great job, Rich.
Thanks. It's gonna and it just, and again, all I did was just kept showing it to him and just let him make that decision, because I said, I'm not trying to take away anything. I'm trying to add to you. I just want to bring more money to your organization. And he was just all about it. I mean, he even bought breakfast, so it was awesome.
Awesome. Good deal. You know what, you guys, here's what's unique about us. We've built this where we're not salespeople. We're building relationships. We're providing them something that they've never had. They've been missing all these years. The average tournament netting 3 to 5 grand, and there are a million of them. We're really building relationships and making them aware of how to help them accomplish their goals. I'm not selling them a car. I'm going there and handing them money they never would have had, and prizes, and making it fun that they didn't have. I want to understand their tournament. Like Rich just said, whatever that cause is for the police, I want to understand. And is it Blue Lives Matter? What is the cause? What's the money being raised for? Then I want to let them know that I care. And then I want to show them how I can make it better. And they need help. They all need help because they don't net enough money. And so we can fill all of those gaps if we listen, ask questions, we're a good listener, and we care. And then our programs are so diverse. Like Rich said, he ended up with a par 3, he ended up with banquet. You know, we ended up with an online. If we weren't diverse like that and we only did a par 5, we wouldn't be involved. So just go any direction that they want to go once they understand what we have. And I think that's what makes us so unique. And that's why we're completely taking over this market, because nobody does that. There's a real low budget company called Dixon that goes out and does a par 3 and par 5 because they watched us do it, and they make a biodegradable golf ball. You have to hit a ball in a hula hoop or something kind of crazy. There's a long drive company that started with Crank Golf, right? And CGI, Charity Golf International, and they do 1,400 events. Nobody really does what we do, and nobody has this. It's just, do we understand it well enough that it becomes kind of unconsciously competent at it, that it doesn't matter where they go. Like Rich didn't care where they went, but once you know they have that void, you know how to explain it to finish it. And that's why I wanted to do our trainings in little quick videos. Because let's say I wanted a refresher on the par 5 and the crank clubs. I could just play that video and not do any of the other training. I want to know how to stand up and do a banquet driver. I just want to play David's video, and it's quick. And in 2 minutes, that's right. That's how I do that. That the first time you go through all those video trainings, it's a lot. But later, to be able to go back in the portal and just play individual segments is so valuable. If I'm going to go present to a hero or to a golf course, to a director of golf or a GM, I just go back and play that hero presentation. Play it 2 times in a row. Okay, got it. And then go do the presentation. That's why we broke it up that way. I thought it would be more valuable indefinitely to our team. And we're going to keep adding to it. Ann's videos are going to be added when Leslie gets back from Europe. We'll just keep adding to it in small segments so we can all be, as competent as possible at what we're doing.
Hey Jay, I learned something today also. I made on the way back. It's raining here, so all the golf pros are doing nothing in their shops. I stopped and saw the director at the country club across the street from my apartment. And he told me something that I never knew that some of the private clubs do. I just kind of wanted to show it to him because he's on the Indiana Golf Foundation, which he instantly connected me, who I know because he's part of our section. I'm going to go visit with the executive director of our PGA section, and but he said, oh, perfect for that. But he said, well, my club here, when I showed him the online part of it, he said, we have a country club foundation called the Christmas Club that we buy meals for needy families at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And he goes, that the online fundraising, bam, and he wants to do that now. So
awesome.
Just for that to feed people at Christmas, and if they don't, more people at the club would get involved, he says, and then that'll just fan out. So don't give up on private clubs at all. And then he said, I think I got one outing for sure out of the 8 that they do, that he said, I'll probably put you in. So it just, but the online appealed to him more than the other part. And just because I just showed it all to him, I wanted to just expose him to it. And when I can expose the executive director, man, if I can get them on the online, they all do it. I already looked. A lot of them have it, just a donate page, but they don't get anything. Mm-hmm. I feel better because I gave money, but do I get anything? So the guy at the other one about the police event, he says they don't have any extra money. I said, yeah, but if they pull their money, we make a little contest in their group, maybe they will. I don't know. But then he goes, oh, the banquet, the condo. Oh man, Cancun. This is awesome. So he goes, oh, we used to sell a bunch of those when people would donate their condos. Well, they've sold their condos. So now he goes, this trip thing, I think will just be crazy. I'm like, and so like, again, I totally agree with you on just present as much of it, and they're going to lead you down that path of what they need or what they want, and then or they say something and then that leads you right back to it. So, and last week you said, or Ann said in the one meeting that, the more you talk about it, the more it becomes second nature for you, and it'll just happen. So
you're so right. The way Ann's doing, a lot of it's new to me. I help develop it, but still it's new to me too. So I had fun, Rich. I'll give everybody on the call a fun one. I love working out. I used to own health clubs in 4 different states, and I sold that company. And I was a strength coach at San Diego State when I got done playing football. And so I go into my club and I asked Alan, who's the general manager, it's a local health club that I work out at. And I thought about that loyalty program. So Dean came in and he is their executive marketing director. They have 50 fitness 19s. There are 50 gyms total. Some are in Chicago, but California primarily. And so I sat down with Dean real quick and said, hey, I know that I owned health clubs. I ran it in 4 different states. You have to incentivize people to drive them in and get new referrals and, you know, uh, build that relationship to drive more traffic to your club. What are you doing right now for an incentive? And he said, when people join, if they join, we give them through ABC. That ABC is a company that does a recurring revenue billing. So ABC sends out, hey, you have for joining Fitness 19, you get a $50 gift certificate to Dick's Sporting Goods, and you can spend it online or go into the store yourself. And so, well, how does it work for you, Dean? And he said, well, I pay $5 no matter what for everybody that joins. So take 200 people that join on average for a Fitness 19 club per month times 50 times $5. That's what he's spending each month. But if they redeem it and use it, he pays the whole 50. I said, how many people redeem it and use it? He said 40%. Well, 40% of all the people, 40% of $50 is $20, right? And is that right? Yeah. Yeah. 40%, $20. And he's paying the $5 for the other 60. That's beyond our whole loyalty program. And it's a $50 gift certificate to Dick's. We have 1.7 million businesses. Said, Dean, look at this. And we market you. And we'll put you on this app as the health club. And it goes to everybody on their phone. And look what you're giving back. Look at this app on your phone. And he's like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. I mean, one simple, now take those numbers. I'm going to try and do them in my head, but if you guys are better at math, help me out real quick. But if you're looking at, if you have 200 people per club and there's 50 clubs, isn't that 10,000?
Yes.
I think it's 10,000. If that's 10,000, and then you got $20 times 10,000, that's what, 200,000, is that right?
Yes.
200,000 a month for me walking up and just saying, what are you currently doing? And what he currently did, he was spending more than he would spend with us. And we have 100 times what he has. It's shocking how quick things can come that are big deals. And that's one guy that happens to have 50 health clubs. You know, there's what, 18,000 health clubs in the United States, somewhere in that neighborhood. There's just so many different things, different ways we can go. So I thought I'd throw that out there because I just did that. Then I called Ann and said, hey, we haven't done health clubs. Can you kind of put this together in a presentation that looks nice? Because Dean's going to do it. And I just want to finish it with him and get it started.
So, yep. That 10,000 new memberships a month worth 40 grand to just the account rep.
Isn't that crazy? Great. And they're already spending that money. There are so many opportunities for us from what we've put together if we just really intimately understand everything we have at our fingertips that we have in our company, because there's really nowhere you go. I mean, you go to any business, loyalty programs are trying to figure it out. They're trying to do better things. I mean, you go to conventions, how do they gift? How do they incentivize? It just doesn't stop. And so I don't want to get too far off, but I want you guys to understand, if you get a hero course, what a great way to start. And it leads to open up the charity tournaments, and that leads to opening up digital fundraising year round. But it can go all the other directions as well. Like Rich just got a digital fundraising the same day he got the tournament, and he found a way to get the par 3 in there and a banquet program. So these are the things that I think make our company great. Everybody's sharing, and then you're going to go out and do a tournament, And then you're going to turn around and say, hey, Jay, I'll give you a good one. We're doing in Dallas this week. First time ever. David Wills. He said, Jay, we do the par five with crank for 100% prizes back. And he said, but what about once I've done that tournament last year and they want something new? He goes, can I just raise the money on a putting contest that everybody does and give them 100% back in prizes? I said, I don't know why we wouldn't. He goes, can I do it this weekend? So he's doing it this weekend to test it. That's David Wills that runs Texas, the Plain States through some of the Gulf states. And we'll see how it goes. And if it works great for him, that'll be in our book too. Our people are what developed our entire company. They came up with things saying, why don't we do this? Or I think this would work better. And then we just find a way to make it make sense financially. So the more we have, we want to be a one-stop shop, and we can increase, and everything we do has to increase their net revenue without charging them. We raise the money. As long as we stay on that path, we have something really special. And again, we have nobody that's competing with us. So it's as far as we can take it. Any other questions, you guys? Hey, I love our team. I love where we're headed. And very soon, we're going to have a whole bunch more people on these calls from the other states that aren't being represented yet. So, it's been an hour. I did record it. I'll send it to everybody. If we have, I know we have a couple people that weren't able to make this call. They'll get the recording too. And then next week, we'll go back into this again. Is there anything, please text me. You guys have my cell number. If you don't, it's 951-333-7992, 951-333-7992. Just text me and say, Jay, could you cover this? And I'll add it. If you want Ann on this call, if you on our intimate call to cover very specific items, or you want Lance Reeder gets back from the Masters to jump on our call, anything that you want that will make you more knowledgeable in everything we do, then that's what our calls are going to be about every week. So please text me anything you want, then that will absolutely be added to the next call.
Jay, the guy this morning, he said to me that and I showed him the deaths by the veterans, the 22, and he said, well, that's up to 28 now. Is what he told me.
You know what? It is.
And I said, well, that's sad, isn't it? And that just continued the conversation into, where we were going. Also on the, the banner that I see, like David has with the Hero Day and then the pictures on the bottom.
Yes.
Is there a layout of that I could just turn to a sign shop or Vistaprint and give to them? I tried to find one and I couldn't find it in there.
You know what there is? It's I'll have Leslie email again. I kept these pictures up to show you guys, and now they're not coming up. So I will yes, they're on. I'll make sure that you have the exact instructions, like to find the banner. I'd actually brought this up to be ready for our call. Now, yeah, I don't see it. Well, oh, here it is. Like these.
Yes, that one right there.
Yeah, so this is a typical way. I went out, I don't know if I told you guys, but a couple of weeks ago, I have a friend that's at a really nice a really nice resort course, and he changed golf courses and went there. And he said, you got to come out here and do this. And I said, great. And he goes, but I want to talk to you about everything. So will you come do it instead of your team? I said, sure. But this is my setup. This is exactly the way I do it. And I just want to show you because it worked so well. Number one, they walk up Hero Day, providing veterans. I tell them about first responders. And then it shows the pictures of the people with the prosthetics and the service dogs. It leads me into why we're there. On the next banner, I like to prevent. What's that? Then I want to present the incentives. And on my table, it shows the unfortunate stat 22 a day. It is a lot more than that. You know what else, Rich, to go along with that? Some states don't even report. So this is just one that we gather from a source that we know we can use. We know it's higher, but that's a compelling stat on its own. Like Mission 22, it's called Mission 22. So we go with that, and it does show that now you've got approaching 130,000 to suicide in the last 20 years. Just horrific. But I put that on my table. I put Cancun on my table. I put the savings pass you can see on my table, and then the rules to win and stay at Cancun. So then when they say, "Oh, I want to do Cancun," they just take a picture. They take a picture of those two. They know who's contacting them, and they have it. They just everybody has their phone with them. And then I have the banner on the left because when they walk up and I present Hero, and this is a Hero course. So what we're doing today is a hole in one, and I go through all of that. Then I turn around and say, and because of our veterans that protect our freedom, we have the most robust savings app ever put together, because nothing's more important than backing our veterans that sacrifice so much, and our first responders for our safety. And I tell them about it. So if you donate just a minimum of $50, everything I told you about, you're in, and you get this savings pass that will save an average family $2,000 to $3,000 a year. And your investment's only $50 for this cause. In addition to that, we have Cancun. It's valued, and it shows the resorts. It shows the 5 different 4- and 5-star resorts. $100 or more, you have Cancun. If you'd like both, simply donate $150 or more. Look what you're getting back, and the cause is so important that we help the people that put their life in risk every day, or have lost their life, or have sacrificed uncomprehendable situations. And that's why we're here. And I tell them straightforward, we need to support these people. And they look at me and like, even if they weren't, they're like, okay, I will. They're going to donate something because it is important. We don't do enough. And I make sure they understand that from my heart. And then they turn around and say, hey, I'll do both of those, or I want Cancun. Well, now you're not getting $10, you're getting $100. And for me, it's not only do you make a lot more money, but look how many more people we can help. The golf course made more money. I can walk in and say, hey, this is the gift certificate you're getting now. And they're like, oh my gosh, you raised that much money today? And then service dogs are $35,000. We need to raise a lot of money to help these people. So that will help you. I set it up just like this. I meet the golfers as they're getting out of their cart saying, hey guys, this is a par 3. You have plenty of time. The people in front of you, remember, only 18% of amateurs hit a green from 150 yards. So even hit the green. So the group in front of them has to chip, get on the green, line up their putt, make their putts, and then get out of the way for them to hit their iron off the tee box. You have plenty of time. So I say, just need a couple minutes of your time to explain to you the Hero program that I'm sure you've probably already heard about it, or nationwide. We're the #1 supporter of our veterans and first responders at golf courses in the entire country. So come on over, and I want to walk you through this. And I stand right next to this banner and walk them right through it. And I'll tell you what, it changes what they donate if they understand the savings pass. They understand. Think about it. They give you $150 instead of 10. Think about how quickly your numbers grow. But look what they get back. They're getting a savings app for 1.7 million businesses, and a stay in Cancun for 5 days and 4 nights at 4- and 5-star resorts. And there's no blackout dates. There's no timeshare tour. There's no gimmick. They just got to fly there. They can even upgrade to all-inclusive. I mean, unheard of for supporting our veterans. Who shouldn't do that? So I walk them through that and make it pretty that clear to them. And hey, you turn around and get 10 Cancuns, there's an extra $1,000. It just changes what you raise, changes who we can help. And the people that donated are so thrilled to get that back. And once they go on those trips and I hear, oh my gosh, my friend went, my daughter went, my buddy did that last year. Wait till you hear the stories. The resort was amazing. We're on the beach. I mean, it's the real deal. And so I just wanted to share this setup because it'll help you raise more money And one other thing, see the glass jar of cash? Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that on my screen okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, that glass jar, somehow lost my picture, but let me go back to it. This is a crank day we were out doing at a charity golf tournament with our drivers. But that glass jar is important because what that glass jar says, people pay you Venmo or credit card. I'll tell you what, when you see $100 bills, like if I could zoom this in, you'll see $100 bills laying in there. What does that tell me as a golfer that walked up? Everybody in front of me is doing it. I don't want to put it in a closed container they can't see. I want this thing. I mean, this is in the morning we did this. By the night, I'm shoving the lid down and jamming it and it's overflowing. I want them to see that because visually, when people see everybody's doing it, they want to do it. It just helps. So I put a very large glass jar in there and I just stuff that cash in there all day long. And then they'll also see a sheet behind these signs, all the credit cards and Venmo. And group by group, I'm taking down the numbers. And if they're standing there with me, they can see what's happening every group. Oh, the group in front of me did a Cancun and a savings pass, and somebody else did $20, 170. And you get that group after group after group. It just motivates them to do it as well. So I just think visual aids are important. And so I try to make it. I used to do it just with our hero banner, Hero Day, and I added the incentives instead of just having them on the table in a big banner. Oh my gosh, it helped me so much. And I've only done a few of these, but I do them because I need to know this. I need to be able to go out and prove that it works no matter where I go. And to be honest with you, what's weird for me, what I have to do every day, I love these trainings with you, but the other things I have to do for my position, I don't like that much. I love this. Oh, put me out on a course and talk to everybody and brag about our veterans all day long and cheer if they make the hole in one or they come close. It's right in my element. I love this life. So this might help you too on the setup. I just wanted to show you the ones above it are pretty simple. Let me show you Chris Gallagher instead of me. Chris and I went and did a charity golf tournament in Arizona, and he was meeting his whole team. And so we put up the crank flyer. But again, the motivation for Cancun and the savings pass is right there. And then you've got different hero drivers for people to hit. You really only need 3, but as time goes along, you might want to have more and more. And on the crank hole, we'll get it. You guys probably already saw that training anyway, so I won't waste your time. But when people walk up and they know it is a playable, longest hitting driver at every swing speed, it's not a long driver. And DeChambeau tied Furyk and broke the all-time 2-day record the first week he ever played it. And he's averaging 29 yards further than he had ever averaged in his career. I mean, the week before, when he was playing a different driver, he averaged 29 yards less. It's not like he miraculously grew over a year and he swings faster now. Our driver makes a significant impact. And then I have them have 2 balls. They hit their driver, they hit ours. When they blow our driver past theirs, they want to buy them. And so, anyway, those are what the setups look like. But to incentivize them, I'd always have that banner up there if I was you, because they turn around. And if I'm just talking about Cancun, it's hard to comprehend. If they're staring at the resorts, it's on the table and on a banner, and they can look at it. They can take a picture of it. It just makes it a lot easier for them to want. And then they'll turn around and say, how can you give us that for $100? And I'd say, because they support our hero program. Our hero program is the reason why we're able to do all of this. Everybody wants to support our veterans. None of us would be here playing golf today and be free if it wasn't for those sacrifices. And that's exactly what I say. And they're like, I agree. Oh my gosh, thank you, brother. And it's the perfect day. It's the perfect storm. So hopefully all these little things help today. And next week, please text me. I'll cover any and everything you guys want to cover. We have a great team where you guys are at. We will, once we get dug in and the season starts and you get some of these courses under your belt, you'll recognize everything I'm talking about. It grows so fast. So thank you guys. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Enjoy the
You bet.
Masters.
Jay. Hey,
Thanks,
Jay, before
guys.
you leave,
Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Jay,
Yes.
hey, sorry about that. Before you leave, I wanted to show you something and I need to get your address on.
Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can pause this recording real quick.
All right.
And let's see, recording up here. I think that's a stop. Let's see, stop recording to the cloud.